What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit. I am very, very fast scroll speed, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the red color, playing as Thor. His name is Nullus. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Jalbos. He is the boss of the Jals. That's what I think. We have the map Mediterranean, and we've got ourselves a classic, or maybe not so classic matchup. The Zeus versus Thor on Mediterranean. Now, we've seen this matchup quite a bit, but I'm not going to lie, I've kind of ignored Mediterranean for quite some time here. But I feel like maybe it's time to see if things are different. Don't click off just yet. It might be a good game. It might be a good game. It's Jalbos, I can't even say his name. It's Jalbos and Nullus as well. And Nullus is like one of those players who kind of played a shit ton of Uranus, and now he's like dabbling with other gods, and I love it. I love it. Nullus is such a strong player. He plays all of the gods to a high level, and he's showing off that, you know what? You Norse players, I'm going to show you how it's done. And he is showing us how it's done. We've got Nullus chucking up his dock. He's over here. He's on top of his Aurochs, sharing the ox cart with the wood. This means that this build order is completely improvised here from Nullus. Nobody has a strict Mediterranean Norse build for when they can share their ox cart with the hunt. Nobody does that. So this is interesting. We'll see exactly what's going to happen here for Nullus. Now, personally, I have been under the opinion that Thor's best bet on Mediterranean against Zeus is to go for a fast 3-dock build. And the way to do this, and we're not seeing this by Nullus, so I'm interested to see how he's going to cope with the Zeus pressure with the Athena. The way to do this is to go one fishing ship and then build your second dock. So dock, house, dock. And one fishing ship out, and then you build your fishing ships after that. It gives you a little bit less initial economy, but it allows you to build your third dock while going to the classical age, such that you're going to be ready to spam ships like a madman. It's a 4:30 advance time. It also counts for Odin, yes, Brooks, but Odin struggles just that little bit more because Odin doesn't have a Dwarven gold mine. I'm not sure exactly what Odin's build is to get a 433 dock. Because he has to also build another ox cart to get onto this. So you could maybe share the ox cart with the wood. Might be a go if you can possibly do that. It'll probably be fine to do the build. And we are seeing the temple coming up now for Nullus as he's getting very, very much onwards with the game. Now, this build from Jalbos, personally, holy moly, 5 gifted subs from Rave Dave Ilham. I appreciate you, man. This build from Jalbos, personally, I think this build is actually not as good as the pros think it is. Now, you got to hear me out on this one. The pros, they go 2 wood from the start straight onto the pigs. It allows them to get out 1 or 2 fishing ships or 1 fishing ship faster than the other build. If you have double, that build is fine, but if you have double Aurochs, it's worth it to save your pigs, because that means that you can then transition into town center booming super calmly and peacefully, being completely fine with sacking the water. But this is not an option now for Jalbos. Maybe, yeah, he can jump onto the Aurochs, but given that you have no pigs left, it's just a lot harder to make that work. Now, we do see the double dock. We do see the Athena. Nullus over here, he's going through Freya. He's gotten himself 1 dock. He's going to be going up to the next dock, and he does have 9 fishing ships. You can see he's got 4 dwarves on gold, and he's saved himself 1 of those ox carts well, not really saved himself. He's actually built a second ox cart so that he's efficiently chopping wood here. And I like that. It's going to give him a little bit more economy, but only 2 docks here. And this dock's actually up very, very late. A little known fact, the Old Sark, for some reason, actually throws the dock up just that little bit slower than everyone else. The build points on this is a 120, so the build points are actually exactly the same. So you'd think that they build at exactly the same speed, but actually Greek villagers build do a little bit more build points than the Norse Ulfsar. Just a little known fact there, unless you're on Extended Edition, in which case your old G, the balance team saw that was an unfair thing, and they have dealt with that. And we are seeing now a Herser coming over, going to be aware that he probably has to deal with a potential Minotaur walking into his base. We see the Longboats coming down, and Nullus is attempting to get up this third dock. So he is going for 3 docks, but it is a late third dock, and you're actually going to see him get a little bit housed here, probably, unless he brings off one of these infantry units to deal with this. And now we are going to be seeing Jalbos currently moving in. Never retreat, never surrender, always fight in the early game here. You can bolt one of those things. Obviously, you want to save bolt for the Valkyrie, but you do have a Minotaur back here, and we do have Jalbos with 2 separate wood lines here. He's got 8 villages on gold, which is maybe 1 too many. You actually only want 7 on gold. Otherwise, you're going to kind of overgather gold just a little bit here. And anyways, he's got 8, so that's fine. And we are seeing Nullus slowly transitioning dwarves off of the wood onto gold. It's perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. We do see the bolt getting cast onto the Valkyrie before Forest Fire getting used there. So nice play from Jalbos. No free Forest Fire to really hurt Jalbos. And now he's going to be moving in, trying to fight this one off. We've got 50 population for Jalbos to Nullus's 50 population as well. Longboat situation here. 7 for Nullus to 8 for Jalbos. Still very, very close. And Nullus is playing this perfectly. All you got to do is sit back. There is no need for Thor to even think about engaging the Zeus player until the Thor player is at like 100 population. At that point, the bonus of the longboat starts shining, and that it's too hard to really micro and use that extra 2 range that the triremes have. And what Jalbos is making a big mistake here is he should be poking and prodding right now as much as he possibly can, getting as many volleys off and getting his boats down low while dealing slight damage to his opponent such that he gets hyper value out of his restoration on the water. But he might be thinking about doing something a little bit different here, and we'll see how that's going to go. He does have access to these Aurochs still, so he can go for some sort of semi-fast heroic if he sniffs out Nullus playing this defensive strat. There is a slight counter that Zeus can do in that he can go to the heroic age, he can get Scarlet, and then he can completely crush the water. But by that stage, it's probably fine for the Norse player to simply just grab town centers and be fine. There's some nice micro there from Nullus. Yet again, he's actually taking such little amounts of damage here. Now, once you get to this amount of, and this, oh god, he's so good. Once you get to this amount of trireme, it's actually best to cut your trireme into 2 separate control groups such that you can get the volleys going much easier so your trireme aren't bumping into each other. We are seeing that Nullus still just defending nicely. He has garrisoned in his fishing ships into those docks. And he is going to be continuing here as if everything is fine and dandy. We even see the Dwarven Armory in here. So he does have himself up 1 little bonus there. He's got himself Copper Shield, which is going to put him behind by 1 longboat. But he gets himself so much extra effective HP that he might actually be able to start fighting. We've got ourselves, how many trireme? 17 trireme to 12 longboats though. So Nullus struggling just a little bit to get this production out, while Jalbos is also in a similar position here. We don't see a 3rd dock up for Jalbos. Normally coming to about 7 minutes 30 is about when the Greek player throws up the 3rd dock and then starts thinking about getting himself extra town centers. And you can see how much wood he's got, how much gold he's got in the bank. Very, very nice macro thus far by Jalbos, as Nullus still trying to defend over here as we see some more of those longboats coming out. We've got 19 longboats to 24 trireme, as Jalbos still in the lead here by just a little bit of micro from Nullus trying to bring Jalbos back in. And we are still seeing this fight happening very, very nicely, but there's the big restoration. So many units here untouchable, as Jalbos is going to continue to push in, and Nullus is going to attempt to defend underneath these docks. He's got 3 docks here. 2 are firing at this point. So if we check out the amount of trireme, 21 trireme to Nullus, who's got maybe, I would guess, about 15. So he's kind of looking about 18-ish effective longboats with the docks here to help. And Jalbos actually getting a little bit out microed here. Not really, but not able to continue pushing in here. I think he probably should have stayed and continued to fight on that location, given he's got 23 trireme, which is plenty enough to fight this one. And we do still only have... we've got copper weapons as well from Nullus. Very spicy upgrades, to be honest, from Nullus. Neglecting houses at this point. He's trying to fight just a little bit more. These longboats are going to be very, very strong here against the trireme. But the trireme numbers are enough to really win this fight at this point. Essentially, with copper weapons, every 10 longboats is worth 1 more longboat in DPS. Every 10 longboats is worth 1 more in HP. So once you get copper shields, copper weapons, you can kind of make that calculation nice and quick. You see 19, that's probably about 22 or 21 longboats effectively. So if you've got yourself this many trireme, it's time to fight. It's time to fight. You are winning. You are winning. We are seeing Nullus trying to micro this one. He's actually doing a very nice job considering how slow the longboats are. But Jalbos now starting to fight back on this position here, pushing Nullus back fairly nicely here. He's got so many trireme in this position. Nullus is thinking like he can win this fight, but it's looking like the trireme numbers are just a little bit too much for Nullus at this point, as he's going to be pulling back just a little bit. Okay, so Jalbos just doesn't realize that he's winning here, it seems, as he's pulling back, allowing Nullus to get a whole bunch of pierce damage done. And Nullus does have double pierce upgrades, as Soup says in the chat. 35% pierce armor, still an advantage for Jalbos, though, in terms of numbers. These shield upgrades are great if you're equal, but it's still an advantage for Jalbos. He's still trading fairly efficient. Nice micro from Nullus, pulling Jalbos back. He's not paying attention. He does decide to turn around now. And we are still seeing Nullus attempt to micro this one as best as he possibly can. But these longboats are very, very close to the triremes. There's the pullback over here. Jalbos now has to pull back himself, as Nullus is controlling this quite nicely, though. The army numbers for Jalbos still in favor of Jalbos. 96 population at this point. We're starting to see some walls over on this position as the Nullus ships moving back here. We are still seeing Jalbos try to fight this one, pushing Nullus back over there. He does still have the trireme advantage here. Jalbos 100 population, Nullus 84 population. But it's currently 11 minutes into the game. Nullus might want to consider just saying, yeah, I'm done. I'm happy. I've got the villager population. I'm going to get myself my talent centers and be fine here. And same too should Jalbos. He could say at this point, I'm going to cut trireme production. I'm going to get myself my talent centers. If Nullus decides to push in, I'm just going to say, fine, I'm going to let you have it. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and wait. We do see the villagers having to move over to the second gold mine now for Jalbos as well. So this fight is going to be a little bit difficult to reinforce. And Nullus is getting himself another Valkyrie, another couple of Valkyrie. You can see 52 favor in the bank. So that's a lot of favor that he's managed to get from fighting with these longboats. So deciding to go in with those Valkyrie is a very, very nice attack here. But there is already one Odysseus over here, a Minotaur over here to defend. The wood villagers fairly close to the main base of Jalbos. It's actually spread them out very nicely. We do still have Forest Fire, so we can imagine super hard how good Forest Fire is going to be in this game. And Jalbos has managed to push back. You can see that these upgrades that Nullus have got, you think that they're going to be helpful, but honestly, it would be better for him to just have multiple more longboats at this point than otherwise, or even a town center, given he's gotten those upgrades. He could have gotten that out. We do see 3 Valkyries coming in. They're going to help out a ton. There's only the one Odysseus here. We are seeing the Minotaur here, the Odysseus ready to start shooting away, getting a big amount of damage done. The Minotaur getting some shots in here. Nullus going to run straight past this, walk into the main base. Jalbos needs to think about getting himself out his Jason here, as Nullus moving back in onto this fight yet again. Jalbos still has the trireme advantage here, as we are seeing the raids going on while the micro is trying to happen here, as Nullus is trying to get that advantage by distracting, getting some villager snipes over here. He has got the Valkyrie in the main base, but hasn't managed to do all too much. The timing of this fight means that Jalbos has been able to micro completely hindered here as the Valkyries are in on this location, getting some damage done. The Jason is out now. Going to be able to turn around and fight this. There's the forest fire coming in onto this location. No villagers getting picked off. The villagers need to move over to a separate location. A couple of villagers have fallen here as Nullus has managed to snipe them off, but the triremes have pushed in and are able to take the water at this point as Nullus has to start retreating away around the map. This doesn't really do all too much because of how slow the units are. Nullus still producing longboats into his docks, which I think at this point you just got to say, look, it's fine. You have it. Have the water. I don't mind. And we're going to see the Nullus Valkyries. He could split these up into 3 separate groups, though one seemingly has fallen here and be able to hit multiple different things. There's the town center coming up for Jalbos as Nullus is going up through Bragi here. Ooh, I don't like Bragi against Zeus. I don't like Bragi against Zeus at all. No access to Frost Giants means that Heliopoli are so strong here. But Bragi does have the option of being cast because there's no ceasefire. But then again, so too would a Frost be okay here. So now the question is, has Jalbos made a mistake here going 3 town centers? I think the answer is generally no. I think that he can get these 3 town centers. He's got himself the fishing ships. He can get himself out whatever he wants here. We are seeing a whole bunch of longboats out now for Nullus, still trying to make this fight work on the water. And he will actually have flaming weapons to make a really big push on the water if he wants to use it that way. But Jalbos is still producing his triumph, still fighting nicely. There's 110 population for Jalbos to Nullus is 110 population. So now it's looking like maybe a little bit of an advantage here on water for Nullus as Jalbos has to retreat back. And he has invested a lot into these fishing ships, but again, probably can just give up water here. Rush Mythic Age, completely fine. Bragi hits here. So now Nullus has got access to potentially making some siege ships here. He gets out the free battle boar. He's got 100 favor in the bank to spam out battle boars. And he does decide to cast flaming weapons on the frontier. And so his longboats deal 14.7 damage right now. Jalbos, he just has to fight this. You just got to turn around, take the L. It's totally fine. Your opponent just used a heroic age god power to take the water. You're going to have access to Underworld. You're going to have everything you want here. 3 town centers. You still have these Aurochs here in your base. The problem is, because you ate all of your pigs, you don't have a whole lot of food. So you are going to have to farm here, which is going to be a very, very sad state of affairs. Are we seeing burning pitch as well? No burning pitch. You get burning pitch to completely kill off these docks incredibly fast. And it's pretty funny, but now we see a hill fort coming up for Nullus. He's probably going to be aware that making Huskal throwing Axeman here is going to be really hard for Jalbos to defend against at this point because no access to Hapaspist. He's stuck in the classical age for just a little bit longer. Do we see Jalbos building more? No, not going to build anything more. He needs to take those villages off of gold and chuck them over onto wood to spam out farms. Whenever you see this, whenever you see 10,000 or 1,000 gold in the bank, take your villages off gold. Simple. We are seeing a sentry tower getting thrown up. Archery range coming down. I love that play for Jalbos. Just play nice and defensive here. Get your economy going. You're in a fantastic position. Just need to get to the Mythic Age and you can win this game. Your opponent went Bragi, so Heliopoli are essentially your win condition here. You don't need Hera. Just go through Underworld. Go through Hephaestus, or what's it called? I had a brain blank here. I'm actually going to have to click on this. My God, Apollo. Go through Apollo and Hephaestus, and you're in a very, very strong position at this point. We are seeing some more docks getting thrown up. No town centers are in range of the water at this point, and it's looking like Nullus might be going 1 town center straight to the Mythic Age. You might try for a Ragnarok here, which could be a very strong play considering he's still got fish. But he would have to start a trade route of some description. He's throwing up a town center over here with 1 Ulfsark. He could also go for a super early tier here. Fimbulwinter could push him even further in front on the economy. But that should be enough for Jalbos. Jalbos is actually spamming out watchtowers as well. He should be aware that there is a possibility for battle balls to push through this as well. And as there are already a couple battle balls out for Nullus. So he has to be kind of aware of that. So maybe thinking about getting masons, upgrading the walls all of that good stuff could be an idea. One option for Nullus here is to utilize these longboats to transport these units into the main base of Jalbos. If we actually see what Jalbos can see, though, he can see everything. Does he have himself up? No upgrades. There's no real landing here that Jalbos isn't going to be aware of, but there is totally a location here. The units can just land, and then he can just spam building it up here and be very, very happy. Jalbos about to advance to the next age here. He's got himself the armory, just about to click up. Nullus, on the other hand, is going through tier. So he's going to try and make a big push here with Fimbulwinter, with these battle boys. He's still got 77 favor in the bank, so he can go in with mass venomous wolves here as well. Drop them into a longbow, drop them into the main base of Jalbos and cause absolute chaos. So many options here. We do see all the docks up, and Nullus is not going to be able to do all too much with these longboats anymore. The town centers are coming up now for Nullus as he's saying, look, I reckon I can take you in the late game, and we'll see if that's going to be a possibility here. We do have Jalbos with 46 villages on wood, as maybe he feels like the only way he loses at this point is going to be Ragnarok. So he's just spamming these towers up, playing nice and defensively. What Jalbos should be doing here is also playing around Fimbulwinter, in that he should have one hero here, one hero over here. And what you do is, when the Fimbulwinter comes, you town bell, you get the Fimbulwinter wolves to target your heroes, and then you walk your heroes away. The Fimbulwinter wolves chase you down, you untown bell your villages, you take about 5 seconds of economic damage. GG, Fimbulwinter defeated. Norse players cry, and you're happy. There's the Apollo for Jalbos, as the Fimbulwinter will get immediately cast. You see it coming in onto this position, and this position. So hitting every single significant location in Jalbos' base. If we check out his villager gather rate right now, he's dropped down to only 13 villagers gathering. The army pushing in over here as well. Going to do some big damage as the battle balls coming through. We will be seeing the longboats taking down these units, as well as the Pegasus flying overhead, going to be looking for some sort of underworld here. But honestly, at this point, if Jalbos has got some military buildings up, which he doesn't really have, he can start making himself those Hapaspist as the villagers coming back out. Jalbos hurting so much as this Fimbulwinter did so much damage to him. We do see an Olsak now coming over to the corner. Are we going to see the perfect market? Maybe at some point here. I love that, and he's going to be able to start trading all the way over to this town center to be super value. He can actually also do a cheeky kind of market boosting strategy by dropping off the market here and here. There's a little known strat which requires a lot of APM. If you put your markets on both of your town centers, you can double your trade route if you don't have access to a corner. Super strong, super difficult to execute, but it's an option. We are seeing some trireme coming over here for Jalbos. Love that play from Jalbos, making some trireme to prevent the push and giving Jalbos a lot of extra time on his hands here and keeping Nullus back, as essentially Jalbos just has to defend and wait this one out. We see some more longhouses coming in on this position. The Huskal throwing Axeman army is created by Nullus, being super aware that that's very strong here, as he's going to try and push through. We still don't see many military buildings down for Jalbos, but he's 145 of 145 population. The trireme going in for some raids, not that important at this point, but he is going for that. Do we see that? Where's the he must have lost it. The Yorman Elva could be a very big help on this position here, as we are seeing the champion units already through for Nullus. This is absolutely huge. Look at these armory upgrades as well. He's got himself copper mail, copper weapons, and bronze shields as well. And so we've got four battle ball here, almost one fallen here. 4 battle ball. Jalbos might need to go through Hera to hold on, but he's not going to be able to get up to the next age. He's got so much population on the water right now. Maybe overdid it instead of throwing military buildings. It looks like Nullus is going to be able to take this town center down, have a 4-2 town center advantage with champion infantry, and Jalbos seemingly getting destroyed by a Baragi Thor here on Mediterranean. What an insane push here from Nullus. Coupled it with Tyr with the super fast champion infantry. The battle ball huge. Obviously, this could have been exactly the same with Skadi, but maybe Nullus wouldn't have won the water a little bit there anyways. And now Nullus can just take the town center, be up 2 to 4 or 4 to 2 town centers in a fantastic position. There is a world where had Jalbos had more food income here, it could have been a Mythic Age, chuck the Hephaestus down, get the Heliopolite down, Underworld this location, take this town center, go 3 town centers even, and this game could continue. But looks like Jalbos doesn't have the resources to get to that next stage. No option to hit a Underworld anywhere. We are seeing the Odysseus out. We need to have the Heracles out as that is getting created. The Hephaestus getting pushed back as they're trying to push in onto those Huskarls. The Huskarls do not have bravery just yet, but doesn't matter. We see more towers coming up for Jalbos as he is desperately trying to defend this location. The champion throwing Axeman walking in here as well. Going to start taking these Hephaestus down and helping out. Definitely want to take the Hephaestus down, not the town center, and that's exactly what we're seeing here from Nullus as he just walks in, starts slinging those axes in, taking everything down. Town center just about to fall. We got so many trireme here for Jalbos. You hate to see it. That's 36 population on the water for Jalbos is one of those mistakes that happens so regularly to everyone as you forget that you have idle military on the water, not able to produce on the land, trying to make these towers out. He doesn't have crenellations, but it doesn't matter because there's no cavalry here, so that would be no help. But no guard towers here either, as Nullus just doesn't care. He can just keep spamming units in onto this position. Nullus' economy is bonkers strong here. He's starting to farm at this point. Doesn't have access to winter harvest, but maybe that doesn't matter because he's full wood-based army at this point. As the town center is about to fall, the Heracles going to try and finish off the battle ball, but too little too late. The town center 100 HP remaining. Those Huskarl can get onto the town center afterwards as well if they so choose, but town center down. Jalbos 1 town center, Nullus 4 town center, Nullus with economy, Jalbos with nothing in the bank here, and this is it as the final docks falling for Nullus, but Nullus doesn't care. There's a world here where Nullus can just take the water back whenever he chooses by just making 2 or 3 Yeoman Elver as well, as there's not really a good counter for that for Jalbos. And, well, I don't know what else to say. I don't see any... We see the market up. Jalbos trying to get up to the next age. He's got no food economy. I don't see any real avenue here for Jalbos to come back. As he is trying to spam those fishing ships out. He's kind of all over the water here, and Jalbos in that moment does decide to tap out. GG. Well played by Nullus. Incredibly well played. I loved the Bragi, even though Skadi is my pick here pretty much every single time. It was a nice showing here to push through. However, personally, if I was in this situation for Jalbos, I would have just sacked the water, stopped producing, make farms, get my town centers, go to the Mythic Age, being hunky-dory here, defended the push, probably been able to defend the Fimbulwinter a bit better by having my heroes out. It could have been a slightly different game here, but Nullus here takes the win, showing off Thor on Mediterranean. Always love a good Thor win here on Mediterranean, given how much difficulty Thor has had over the recent years on this map. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.